So from tobacco wars and macadamia tariffs to political party bans, fake kickoffs, and atomic bomb survivors, today's news is full of surprise moves. My friends, this is Daily Bagel, the morning news show telling you everything you need to know and nothing that you don't. Let's get into it. And kicking us off with current affairs, South Africa is making grade R mandatory for all children, but they forgot one thing: the money. You see, this is all part of the new Bella Act, which is this sweeping education law that gives government more control over how schools are run. It changes things like language policy and school admissions, and it officially makes grade R the new starting line for every child. So last week, our education minister admitted that there's no additional funding from Treasury to roll this thing out. Provinces are expected to pay for it themselves, even as they deal with unfilled posts, broken toilets, and budget shortfalls, amongst other things. And I don't know, for a reform this big, to find out after the fact that there's no funding, it doesn't even feel careless. It just feels like no one's really thought this through. And now, in saying this, the stakes couldn't be higher. It is reported that each year 1.2 million children start grade 1, but only 700,000 make it to matric. Opposition parties say that this budget doesn't even just close the gap, it widens it. And for a law meant to fix the system, it's certainly starting on the back foot. And onto our quickfire mentions, ANC membership has reportedly plunged nearly 30% since 2022, with the middle class and public sector workers retreating. Internal reports cite disillusionment, image damage, and coalition tensions as key reasons for the decline. The Electoral Commission of South Africa has rejected a Durban businessman's bid to register a party called the Islamic State of Africa, reportedly citing 233 objections, links to ISIS, and plans to bring back Sharia law. And our energy minister has claimed that structural load shedding is effectively over, and Eskom is now aiming to keep 70% of its power stations running, which is the level reportedly needed for a stable grid. A major contributor to this has been Unit 4 at Medupi, which is now back online. Now I know what you're thinking. I'm just the messenger here. And on to our finance section. Now this is quite an interesting story. British American Tobacco says that South Africa is being flooded with illegal cigarettes and that it's costing the country 28 billion rand a year in lost tax. So what they did is they sent researchers out to 4,000 shops and they asked them for the cheapest pack of cigarettes. And in nearly 8 of the 10 cases, it cost them less than 26 rand 22 cents. Now why does that matter? Because 26 rand 22 cents is the amount of tax that government is supposed to collect on every legal pack. So if a shop is selling a pack for less than that, it means one of two things. Either the seller is losing money on every sale, which makes no business sense, or they're selling cigarettes where the tax was never paid. So British American Tobacco is blaming one company, Gold Leaf, which is now being renamed Polaris. They say Polaris brands make up nearly half of the cheap cigarettes that they found. But Polaris responded saying, hey, not so fast. Some of these packs are fakes made to look like our brands but produced illegally by someone else. Others may have been the real products but supposedly sold under the table by rogue distributors. Either way though, as the finger pointing continues, one thing is clear. Legal cigarettes are dying, fake ones are thriving, and no one's really in control. And next up, we've spoken about how US tariffs are threatening some of South Africa's biggest exports, and macadamia nuts are firmly on that list. You see, according to Macadamia South Africa, unbeknownst to me, we are the world's largest macadamia producer. But with this new 30% US tariff, it could cost the industry nearly 460 million rand a year. You see, the US buys roughly 20% of our crop, so this one stings. But now here's the upside. Macadamias can reportedly be stored for over 2 years, which gives the industry enough time to find new buyers. Even with global headwinds, our harvest is booming. South Africa produced 87,000 tons in 2024, which was nearly double what we grew in 2017. And according to the Green Farms Nut Company, that number could double over the next decade. So while the tariff is a blow, this is not a crop that folds quickly. And so the nuts and the farmers here are built to last. And onto our quickfire mentions, Plato Coffee is launching its own barista training academy in Cape Town in September. The space will host workshops, public courses, and equipment demos, which is all a part of the brand's push to support national franchise growth. And Temu has reported that its local warehouses in South Africa aren't owned by the company. Instead, it is third-party sellers that store stock in domestic facilities. This label means faster delivery, not that Temu runs its own local infrastructure. And onto our sports section, my friends. It wasn't just a thrashing, it was a rugby experiment that worked. You see, the Springboks bounced back from their shaky Pretoria showing with a 45-0 demolition of Italy in the second test. But it wasn't just the power or the pace, it was the plans. You see, straight from the kickoff, the Boks pulled a move straight out of Rusty's notebook, which was this deliberate kickoff misfire to engineer an early scrum. And look, the Italians weren't impressed. The coach called it disrespectful, and World Rugby will probably find a way to ban that too. Then came a moment of madness and genius, which was this line out in the middle of the field mid-game that turned into a driving maul and ended in a try. Now, this is the Springboks at their most dangerous, physical, unpredictable, and a step ahead of the laws. In the end, though, discipline still needs a bit of work, but make no mistake, this is a team that's not just winning, it's rewriting how the game is played. And onto our quickfire mentions. Liverpool will retire Diego Jota's number 20 t-shirt across all teams after his tragic death. It is the first time in the club's history that a number has been permanently withdrawn to honor a player. All Blacks ran 6 tries past a second-string France to win 43-17 in Wellington. Ardie Savea led from the front, and New Zealand locked in the series with 1 test still to play. And Poland's Iga Swiatek absolutely steamrolled Amanda Anisimova 6-love in just 57 minutes to claim her first Wimbledon title, which has been the first women's final whitewash in 114 years. And as expected, before we continue, here is your bagel bite of the day. Which country drinks the most amount of coffee per person? Is it A, South Africa, B, Italy, or C, Finland? We'll give you the answer at the end of the show. And on to our wildcard section. Look, if you're having a rough start to your Monday, spare a moment for Tsutomu Yamaguchi, which has been the only man officially known to survive both atomic bombs. You see, on August 6, 1945, he was in Hiroshima on a work trip when the sky flashed white. The US had dropped the world's first nuclear bomb. Yamaguchi was thrown through the air, burned, temporarily blinded, but alive. So dazed and bandaged, he got on a train the next day and made it home to Nagasaki. And on the 9th of August, while telling his boss what had happened, the second bomb dropped. Another white sky, another mushroom cloud, but he survived again. So there you have it. 3 days, 2 bombs, 1 man. You'll be happy to hear that he went on to live into his 90s. He raised a family and he somehow went back to work. So look, if traffic's a bit bad this morning or your Wi-Fi's down, just take a breath. At least the sky's not turning white. And as for that bagel bite, the answer is Finland. By far. I mean, the average Finn drinks between 4 and 5 cups of coffee a day, more than double of what the Italians consume. South Africa doesn't even crack the top 50. My friends, that's it for today's show. If you're still yawning into your second cup of coffee this morning, it might be time to channel your inner Finn and brew up 2 more. We've got some ground to make up. My friends, I hope you all have a blessed start to your week, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for round 2. Cheers.